So, hey, for everybody who doesn't know, my name's Amanda Clifford. I'm from Alaska. I signed up with Navan back in January, I think. Uh, and I've been in the network marketing industry for 5 years, I guess. I think. I think it's been about 5 years. I was trying to do the math. Um, Sorry if you can hear my notifications. I've got a ton of them coming in. Anyways, so I just, I wanted to start off by telling everybody, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. Like, I know some of you got the message like super last minute, and some of you have been planning it for a day or two. So I just really appreciate everybody hopping on here with me. It's the very first time I've ever done like a live Zoom telling my story. Usually, I think I've talked to a lot of you. Usually I do like one-on-ones, and the group thing kind of like freaks me out a little bit. Um, so anyways, so I guess what I want to start with is kind of like a little bit about my story, like why I started with network marketing and kind of how I got here. So when I have been working pretty much my whole life. Like I started working whenever I was back like in grade school, junior high. My parents owned their own business and I sort of worked, I did filing. My stepdad's a surgeon, so he ran his own shop and I helped file and answer phones like all the way from then. And then when I was a junior in high school, I remember having 3 jobs just while going to high school. And then I ended up getting pregnant whenever I was 17 and having a baby when I was 17. And even through all of that, I was still working. Well, that was kind of my thing. I worked, and eventually I became a hairstylist, which I absolutely loved. That was sort of my pride and joy. It's an artistic outlet, and I get paid to kind of be artistic without just being titled an artist, because everybody's saying a starving artist is just, that was no way to live. So I was able to sort of do this, do what I love and love what I do. And that's what I ended up doing. And I was a single mom doing it, so I made plenty of money, and I was really content doing it. In fact, I was really happy doing it. I saw myself doing it for kind of the rest of my life. And then back in 2010, I actually ended up with blood clots in my arm, and I lost my fingers, which sort of, it made me take a few steps back. I mean, I lost what I thought was going to be for the rest of my life, right? And that sort of in and of itself makes, well, it made me really look at my life and say, what am I doing? And then well, there was a lot of things that came along with that, right? Like, so I had to pretty much create a new me. And in that process, I realized that I thrive on what I do, but it doesn't make me who I am, right? So that was a huge thing for me, because what I did was who I was. And they were so interlinked with one another that it was really difficult for me to pull those two apart and realize that I am not what I do. Like, I can love what I do, but I'm not what I do. And that at 28 years old, that was a hard realization. So when it took me a few years of like struggling and trying to find another job, I don't know how many people I worked for between the time that I lost my fingers and now. I mean, quite a few. I've had probably close to 10 or 15 jobs where somebody's in charge of me. And I just realized, like, doing hair, I never had anybody, like, there was never anybody over me. I owned my own business. And so that was something that was huge for me. Needless to say, I was having a really hard time being under somebody, having somebody tell me what to do, telling me somebody that I could take my breaks, or, you know what I mean? Like, mopping floors just was not quite as fun to me as cutting hair, right? It wasn't rewarding. And so I stopped working, and we just lived off of one income. And there were some pretty hard days there, but I just couldn't keep a job. I kept getting fired. So after that, I had to like see what it was that I was looking for. I had to figure it out. I had to really reflect on what I was looking for in a career, in a business, in making ends meet, whatever you want to call it. Like there were a lot of things that I was missing in the traditional world of manager employee kind of connection. There was something missing there. So what was it that I was looking for? Like I was looking for something that I loved, that I'm passionate about, and that I wanted to be able to do with others, right? So I did finally, I found network marketing. It was kind of a fluke thing. One of the gals, like one of my friends was like, "Hey, I do this. Do you want to try it?" And I'm like, I looked at the plan and I'm like, okay, like I had no idea what it was about, but I got the bug. It was like I got the bug and I saw what it was, and I saw that it was an equal playing ground for everybody, right? Like so whether you came in as a single mom with 10 kids or you came in with your doctorate, you know, and like it's just a level playing field, and I loved that. I love that. I love that idea. So that's what I saw. Even though I didn't know a darn thing about network marketing, like I had no idea what I was getting into. So I worked that business for a little bit and I realized that I loved working with people. Like I loved working with people whenever I did hair. I love helping people, you know. Unfortunately, that company was not the right fit for me. It just wasn't. There were a lot of things that I cared for. There were products that I didn't care for, whatever. And then it kind of went on. Like I actually joined another company and I knew a little bit more. And then I was like, okay, so this actually looks like a good comp plan. I kind of understand it. Like there were, I don't know, 20 different ways to get paid sort of thing. And I'm like, okay, I can do this, you know. And again, you know, they were like, we're gonna pay you back 20%. And I kept doing the math and I'm like, this isn't 20%. So I just sort of pulled out. I was like, okay, I can't do this. Like I can't work for 13%. Like it's really, what we do is we do a lot of work, you know? And so I was getting frustrated. And in the meantime, I also run my own business as an artist and I teach art. And so that's kind of where I took all of my passion and all of my drive and I just went into that. But then I realized that owning my own company and being a one-person show is really hard and it is a big investment. I mean, I can't even tell you how much money I spent in that first year of doing that job. A lot. And like I don't know that I made even. I know that I took a loss on my taxes sort of thing, you know. Um so that's really whenever I realized that being in network marketing it's owning my own business, right? But the having somebody back me up. Like I'm not having to do it alone. And it's like you don't I didn't lose money my first year, right? So that was another big thing. So it took me back and I started looking at companies and I just couldn't find one that fit and I had kind of given up. So back in October, like kind of fast forward, like back in October of 2019, finally got off my last my last medication that I was on for some issues I was dealing with. I'm actually in recovery, and it was one of the very last medications I had gotten off, and it ended up being a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, and so I ended up being like super super depressed, and just really like I was having anxiety attacks. I was super depressed. I just was in a really bad place, and so in December, I started hearing this voice like saying Brooklyn's name. And like I couldn't get her name out of my head. And so I was like, no, I don't want to talk to Brooklyn. But I did start like checking out her Facebook just a little bit, right? Like kind of scoping her out and seeing like we've known each other for a few years. And so I saw her in a place where she wasn't before. Like I saw her in this place that I sort of wanted to be. And so I started like kind of stalking her a little bit more, just a little bit. And then finally in January, I reached out to her and I'm like, dude, I just can't get your name out of my head. Like, tell me what you got going on. And she did. She told me what she had going on. And at that point, I was like, okay, let's do this thing, because I looked at, by this time, I knew a lot more about, I mean, I say a lot, but really, like, I knew more about what was going on in the network marketing industry. I saw the things that I didn't like, and unfortunately, I knew more about what I didn't like versus what I do want, right? So when I saw the things that they were talking about and I heard what they were saying and I heard the passion, like the fact that it's faith-based and the amount of pay that they give back and then the products, but the spirit and the camaraderie of the company, that was really what sold me. So, and then the products are phenomenal. Like they've helped me significantly, like with my anxiety and my depression. Like I haven't had an anxiety attack since I started the products, period. And then I deal with chronic pain and they've helped significantly with that. Like I'm going through something right now that I think I was just talking about this the other day. The last time, like this is a reoccurring issue. The last time I went through this issue, I ended up being like completely debilitated in bed for weeks at a time, where I would only be able to get up and like function for maybe an hour or two a day. So they've helped me. They're obviously helping me, even though it's not like I'm 150% all the time, right? Because that's not real life. We all want to be 150% all the time, but that's just not real life. But the fact that I'm able to be here right now with the kind of energy that I have is a huge deal, So that's just a little bit about my story. Do you think I covered everything, Brooks?
I mean, yeah, your story always blows me away because I have known you for a little while, right? And we connected through love of the industry, and we were in separate companies, separate paths, but we always supported each other. And I mean, I still remember when you reached out to me and it just felt so right. It just felt like a good fit. And we had talked about working together before, but it was not a good fit, right? I was introduced to this industry, over 5 years ago now. And man, it's been a crazy ride for me myself. We talk about being in a low place before a lot of the time before we're introduced to something like this. And I was at rock bottom. I had just moved back to somewhere that absolutely terrified me because I had made an international move and then I made an international move back, and I was going somewhere where I had a tough past. And so there's a lot of similarities in our story because we saw something in the model that we liked, right? We loved that simply by sharing something that helps people, you could make an income, you could make a living. And with that living, then you could live your life how you wanted to, or with that income, you could live your life how you wanted to. Because, frankly, most of the limitations I've dealt with in my life have had to do with money, right? I had to say no to doing things that I wanted to do because I had a job that wouldn't give me vacation, or I had a manager that, even if I had vacation accrued, wouldn't let me have it. I had limited finances, or, I had to work while my family did this or whatever. And I sacrificed so many things for a career that I couldn't go anywhere else in. I didn't have the ability to move forward. And so I just kept getting stuck in a rut, and I felt like I was working to go home, sleep in, in a roof, or like under a roof that my job had paid for the next day. So that this can't be it. Like, I'm going to end up going back down the cycle I was in before I moved away and rebuilt my lifetime. And so I was terrified. And someone brought me something just simply by saying, hey, check out what I'm doing on the side. We were young. We didn't know what we were doing. I saw this company and I was like, I don't understand what the products do. I don't get the compensation plan. All I knew is that it might give me freedom to live the life that I always wanted to live. Like, I knew ever since I was young, I was not meant to live an average life. I wasn't meant to settle. I just didn't know what that meant yet, but I would soon come to figure it out, because that was starting to happen to me. I was starting to settle. I was starting to spend the majority of my time in places I didn't want to be. It didn't make me happy and made me want to run to, crutches and different substances and things like that. And when he introduced it to me, I said no so many times, because society just tells us, no, you can't do that. That can't happen. That's not a thing. we base our opinions a lot of the time off of failure stories versus success stories. And the truth is, I've seen people um, go from rags to riches in this industry. I've also seen people just make extra money each month to cover expenses. Right? I started in this industry, and the biggest change, my most meaningful change that I will ever, I think, ever have like felt an experience with was my boyfriend and I used to argue over the hot water bill. Right? I used to say like, you can't shower that long because we can't afford it. And the way that was, I mean, I like, we would have arguments about it, right? And so the way that it felt when I was able to, just say, yeah, hun, take as long of a shower as you want, right? He was in school, I was the one working. Yeah, take as long of a shower as you want. And it just made me feel like so much more in control. Like I wasn't just gonna come home one day and there would be an eviction sign on the door. Like that was how terrifying it was, right? And so I know that not all of us are in that, paycheck to paycheck mode. Some of us are, some of us aren't, but some of us have to say no to our dreams constantly because we don't have enough money. And so I started to reframe my mindset about money by being in this industry, by being around people who had money, by being around people who knew how to make money and knew how to keep money, and grow money, basically. And I spent probably about a year in the industry trying to figure out just where I fit. Like I was kind of like Amanda, I started with a company because that's the one that was offered to me, but it didn't last. There were a lot of corners cut with that company. I don't think the ownership really knew how to run a network marketing company, and it showed through and through, right? So I learned one thing that I didn't want in the industry, which was people who had no network marketing experience running the ship. The next company I went to because there was a leader from my first company that, he wanted to show me the way. And I found out pretty quickly what I didn't want in a leader, what I didn't want in somebody that I was trying to model myself after. The next company I went to run away from network marketing because I was so tired of failing, but I had no guidance and I had no support and I had no appreciation. And so I was like, I'm running in this hamster wheel, and I know we have to be self-motivated, but I didn't have anybody who had my back, and I grew up with, man, so many self-esteem issues. So many people who, they were like my friend, but I was never the person they called if they had an issue or if their family was going to Disneyland. Like I never felt important, right? So this was stuff I had to work out, but it just kept making me feel like, no, I can't do this, and pushing me down and pushing me down. And it wasn't until I was offered to look at an opportunity that would have, that completely solved the problem of my last opportunity. It had to do with the product, and I got back in it, and I was so excited about it, and I ran it like a boss. I had a huge retail empire, but no one could run it with me. No one could last with me, and it was because the compensation plan was so freaking confusing. Guys, here we get paid 4 ways. It's very, very simple, right? We get paid a commission on our retail, not based off of business volume or any arbitrary number. It's based off of retail. It's 20%. We get paid sign-on bonuses when someone comes for membership. Yeah, you've done the work, you've shown this to them, you should get paid. And so you do. The company gives you a bonus for that. And then we get to build a residual based off of our business volume, and it's not limited by how many levels down or all these legs wide. It's 100% of what's in your organization. Doesn't matter if the volume came from your upline giving you a new representative to work with. It doesn't matter if the volume came from someone in your team introducing someone else, from you yourself, from retail volume. It doesn't matter. That counts, creates your rank. Your rank pays you a set amount. There's no more guessing here. So that obviously appeals to me, right? Because I was with a company that, in order to explain the compensation plan, you had to sit down with someone for an hour and they may or may not get it. And I know that company had good intentions, but they weren't willing to adapt. They weren't willing to change. Well, that's what our CEO saw in the industry, was a lot of not willing to adapt or change. He loved the industry. He was just like me. He was just like Amanda. He loved the concept, but he couldn't find anywhere he wanted to promote. He couldn't find anywhere he wanted to introduce someone to so that they could absolutely change their life. Because that's what this industry does. That's what it's done for me. This whatever, side gig, movement, project, business, whatever you want to call it, it pays all my bills. It gives me the ability to go and visit people all over the nation. I just took a month-and-a-half tour across the US. I just left my job and my life in Washington to move down to my dream location, which is Florida. I spend most of my time on the beach, right? And you don't have to be someone who, loves tropical locations or whatever. Maybe you want to go cabin it out in the forest or whatever, buy a boat. I don't care what you want to do, but your dreams are possible and they're there for you, right? And network marketing, it's not perfect, but it's better. It's a way to do it that you can put your time into it and leverage it. I learned one simple thing that completely changed my perspective on how valuable time is. And that's that when I would go to work, okay, I used to work 76 hours a week in an office, all right? But most people don't work that much, maybe 40 hours. They go to work for 8 hours a day, and that 8 hours is one amount. That's it. Someone tells them how much each hour is worth. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you work amazingly. It doesn't matter if you show up with a smile on your face. You might get a raise, you might not. I was starting to work more hours for the same amount of salary. So my hourly wage was going down as my title was going up. That's a trap. That was a trap for me. And so I realized, it didn't matter how many hours I worked at that job, I wasn't going to get paid more. So I couldn't use my time to make more money and get ahead. This was a system in which I could come in and spend however much time I wanted to spend on it purposefully and go speak to people about this dream, about this vision, about this community that I was a part of. And because of that, because of me opening my mouth and sharing with them why I'm so excited and where I'm going with it and who I get to work with. Guys, I have the best mentor, I think, in the industry. And I don't say that lightly. I have worked with so many people and I've been told so many times that they would have my back. My mentor here has my back. He's a retired rock and roll drummer. He's the coolest guy on the planet. I've learned more from him about life, business, than I think I have from any other person who has claimed to be successful. He's changed my life. This business has changed my life. It showed me what was possible for me. I watched other people do it for years. I said, what's the difference between me and them? Are they wearing suits? Are they, working from this fancy office at home? I'm in a gym right now. Talk about working from anywhere. I'm in a gym. And I get to do this from anywhere, and I get to show up for my team, and I get to help them share this because I believe in myself again. Because he taught me how to believe in myself, because he showed me something. When I first heard about this company back in November, it was like my fantasy was spoken to me. My dream company, a company that was here because they wanted to just make people's lives better because they existed, because they believed in the one thing which I cared about so deeply, which was the people, the members, the distributors, the promoters, the customers. They are the asset. It's not the company, corporate office. It's not the private jets or the islands that some owners buy. It's none of that stuff. It's not the branding. It's not all the, fancy logos. None of that's important without the people. The people are the asset. So I was ready to be treated like an asset. I was ready to be paid for the work I was doing. I've built other organizations, but I'll tell you, I was paid a fraction there and it wobbled. Sometimes I would put in the same amount of volume, each month. And 1 month I would be paid $1,200 and 1 month I'd be paid $600. Why? Well, because this volume only counted on Tuesdays because it was from that person and blah, 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 blah. Go through the list of requirements and loopholes. I was done with it, guys. And so I thought, why can't the greatest industry on earth be something that's simple, be something that's transparent, but I didn't have the money to do it. And so when I heard it in November, like I said, it was my fantasy, because I said, someone else has the same vision of me. They had the money to do it. We're debt free. They made it. They started it. They created it. They've got the best products out there, in my opinion, for healing people, not masking symptoms, not putting more junk in the body that's going to create problems later on. I've had my struggles with health, right? In 2019, I was diagnosed with stomach cancer. And the only difference between them not detecting that problem within my body anymore was starting on our detox. I'm not saying it cures cancer. Got to be very, clear about that. But the body can heal. You take the bad out of the body, you put the good things in, the body can heal. It was designed to. That's how we were created. But we have, all these environmental toxins, over 70,000 that we're exposed to on average daily. That blew my mind. I was like, I can't run from it. It's everywhere. I go outside, I drink the water, I bathe in the water, I eat the food, like it's everywhere. I'm not gonna go fight those battles. And I tried to in the past. I tried to like replace all my cleaning supplies and do all this needless stuff. I have spent money. Okay, I bought ionizers, air filters, you name it. I was trying to run from all the diseases. Still got me. I didn't have to go through the treatment for that I've watched people in my family go through, that I couldn't even bear asking to someone to come with me. Nobody even really knew that I was going through it, because my family is still very sensitive to that word. They still don't know. That's why I don't talk about it a ton. But what I will tell you is that the body can heal. You give it the right stuff. And so I understood. It's a fantastic product line. It helps people. You literally cannot last as a business in this day and age if your product isn't good, if it's not honest, if it's not transparent, because the internet. Because the internet. And so I knew that it needed to be a product that I would use, that I would enjoy using, that I needed to use. Well, I had that experience. I'll shout it from the mountaintops of how incredible this company is. But it was the transparency. It was I knew that when I'm passionate about something, I can go talk about it. I can share it with people. I want everybody to have good health and more money in their pocket. Heck, I want to go to the top with a whole bunch of people. I don't want to be, on vacation alone. But I needed to have a company behind me that really had my back. So if you are just in a space right now where, I don't know, things are dull or things are bad or it's stuck or you have no direction or you're dealing with health issues or you just want something more out of life, look into it, right? Get more information. We've went over a little bit of it tonight. We have CBD. We're not a CBD company. My favorite product is our detox, because I think it makes everything in your life so much more effective. Like, we weren't designed to suffer. You get the bad out of your body, you start to heal. When you put the good in your body, you live your best life. That's the system that we talk about, that we share. And the amount of lives that it's changed, the amount of testimonies I've received, text messages of people being like, I can't even believe it. We have a girl on this team, and I just went live with her today talking about, her seizures for epilepsy. Guys, she was debilitated. She had no, she couldn't function. Now she's out running. Now she's out in the heat. Now she's out enjoying her life, going to dinner, like doing all the things that so many people take for granted. Then we have people who didn't even realize they were sick. They're like, no, I have to drink 4 coffees. That's normal. It's not. Our bodies were designed to be healthy and happy. We were designed to focus less on our problems and more on making an impact and enjoying our life and having experiences that made it worth it. So that's what Navon has done for me. And, I'm always like, man, I can't even do this company justice. There's no words. And I hope that, you know, wherever you're at in life, I hope you haven't given up on possibility. I hope you haven't experienced, you know, the most extreme failure that's making you give up on yourself. But if you have, give it one more shot. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here. If I didn't open my mind past, you know, what I thought it could open at, I wouldn't be here. You can be stubborn and you can think that all those things aren't for you and that you can't be me and that you can't turn your life around and that you can't have the experience Amanda has. But why don't you just be stubborn for your dreams? Why don't you just be stubborn for your quality of life? I wouldn't have been able to tell you these things 5 years ago because I didn't know they existed. I didn't know that life could be this good. I wake up with a fire in my heart every single day. And I know it's not everybody's passion to do network marketing. That's fine. It can be just a vehicle for you. It can be just a membership you want to have to get the products cheaper or whatever. I'm not here to define it for you. But for me, I'm so passionate about introducing as many people as I possibly can to something that absolutely changed my life. And there is nothing special about me. Nothing. For my whole life, I've always been the odd duck out, the person who has the worst luck, the person who, you know, in class gets the wobbly desk, the person who gets double booked on the airplane, the person who gets, you know, fired because they broke their toe and then, you know, that's a very specific one, but whatever. I've always been the person who's like, when is it gonna give? I'm the exact person this shouldn't have worked for, yet it did. So we're here to restore hope, and hope is literally just belief that there is relief of your current situation. And so I hope that that gives you a really good taste of why we're here, why we're so passionate about it. I want to thank everyone for coming on to celebrate Amanda. I know that it's hard to step outside of your comfort zone, but the support that you guys are giving her means the world. And if you have any questions at all, ask us. I'm happy to hop on a phone call with any of you guys and Amanda as well. I know that Amanda can hold her own, but she certainly doesn't have to. We really aim to support anyone no matter where they're coming in at. Guys, I don't care if you're from Yale or jail. You know, I don't care if you're missing limbs. I don't care if you have never graduated from high school. I don't care who you are. Anyone can win. Like when Amanda said, it's an equal playing field. It really is. It really is. And it's made me the best version of myself that I could be. So thank you for having me, letting me speak to your friends and family and all your loved ones. And I hope that I hope that did it justice.
It did. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for hopping on. I really do appreciate you guys a lot. So.
All the love in the room, right?
Yep, that's right. All the love in the room. So I super appreciate it. But I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. So yeah, I'll be reaching out to you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me and ask me, or both. We'll go both ways. I'll probably reach out to you. So
Can
thanks
we ask,
again, Brooklyn.
Can we ask questions?
Do you want to ask?
Can we ask questions?
Sure.
Yeah, if you have a question, go for it.
I mean, I'm not sure I understand what the whole idea of this meeting is, what it's limited to, but I have questions about the company and what products they sell and that sort of thing. I'm only at the beginning stage. I've only been taking it a day and a half. So I'm really brand new to the whole thing. And I have just curiosities about the whole thing.
Sure. Well,
what's
congratulations on getting on the products.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my one question that came up for me is, how long has this business been in effect? And what are the products that they sell primarily?
Sure. Yeah. So so this company is very new, right? We were in beta testing. I say we, I just feel like I'm super a part of it. But they were in beta testing for over a year. they ended up soft launching in September, and we actually just did our public launch in March. So it was March 14th, and we were at like a launch party. It was really awesome. So, you know, the company, they worked out kind of all the kinks, all the operational kinks over that beta testing time, and now we're really getting into the space where we're building the platform. We're introducing new products. We just introduced a clean energy shot that, I mean, we sold 11,000 units plus in 6 hours. So that's really exciting. But it's a brand new company. Like, we have less than 10,000 members, right? I think we're sitting at like 7,500 or something like that. So fantastic timing for us to be a part of it. You know, sometimes we have growing pains and things like that, but honestly, you know, for the most part, it's like this company feels like it's 3 years into production, when in reality, it's just a baby. They've just done a really good job. Does that answer the question?
Well, it's, yeah, beginning to, yeah.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah,
the clean
so-
energy shot?
The clean energy shot, you know, it was, the product was created because our CEO, he really loves energy drinks, right? But as you become more health conscious and you start to look into them, you realize like a lot of the ingredients in them are very bad. Like, I was just talking to somebody about 5 Hour Energies and how they gave me extreme adrenal issues. Really, really bad.
Yeah.
I've been dependent on pre-workouts before. A lot of people have extreme dependencies to coffee, you know, not necessarily the most horrible thing, but in excess, anything ain't great that can affect your body that way. So he wanted to create something, being that our whole idea is taking the bad out of the body and putting the good in. He wanted to create the cleanest energy shot available in the market.
So is that I guess the mantra of the company, that they're developing products to make the body feel better?
Yes, absolutely. It's about living your best life. It's about overall wellness. Really, like I said, removing the bad, that's kind of the key part of our system. And then we're able to put the good things in. So that's why we have things like, you know, the purest minerals that you can find. They're actually sourced from, it's like marine phytoplankton, right? So it's already in a format that is broken down for the body to use all of the minerals. And then we've got the CBD line as well, right? But it's that whole system of the body works really, really well when we get all that bad stuff out, and then we can feed it the good stuff.
So the detox is kind of the front, for lack of a better term, kind of the front runner in terms of cleaning
it is the most
the bad
important
things out of your body.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, it is the most important piece.
Okay, and then the other products are to support the body. Yes?
Yeah,
So
basically.
Okay. All right. I
You're
just
right,
wanted to
yeah.
get a feel for what the overall dynamic of the company was.
You got it spot on.
I've never been involved with network companies at all. I ran my own business, but it was in insurance. So this is completely different for me. So it's interesting.
I can get you, Christine, I can get you a list of all the products too, just so that you can see them. I'll give you the information.
Yeah, with some sort of information about what they do and what's in them and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That would be really great.
Yeah, I sure will. No problem. Does anybody else?
We're brand new.
Yeah. Those are great questions, honestly. Yeah, I would have the same exact questions. I'm like, it needs to be a philosophy I can stand behind.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question. Have you had dialogue with people that have taken these supplements and found, in the case of dementia, there being an improvement?
I will say, you know, we have to be really careful about medical claims, especially when it comes to that kind of stuff. But there are a lot of linked studies with how environmental toxins in the brain can create, you know, diseases, we'll say, like
Symptoms of-
dementia and, you know, Alzheimer's and things like that. So we've had people who have had significant improvements. Yeah. I can't say cured, but significant improvements, or, you know, less symptomatic.
No, that's certainly fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, I think the rest of my questions can be answered by Amanda. Thank you very much for allowing me the time.
Thanks, Christine.
Absolutely. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you. You too.
I suppose while we're on, does anybody else have any questions real quick? I'm probably going to reach out to each one of you too. So if you,
You have
do,
a
write 'em
website,
down.
right, Amanda?
Do what?
You have a website?
Yeah, I do, Shannon.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll
Thank
get you the information for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
And I'm off tomorrow, Amanda, just so you know.
okay. Thanks. Awesome.
We have trouble connecting sometimes.
All right. Well, if nobody else has any questions, we'll just wrap it up, and I'll be talking to each one of you guys individually. So,
I do just see one quick question here about breastfeeding. We have a lot of breastfeeding mamas on the team. Absolutely. CBD actually is in breast milk, so that's totally fine. Lots of moms, I mean, it's always personal choice, right? I will never like recommend someone against their wishes to do it, but the detox is safe because the zeolite cage is it has so much integrity that it won't break in the breast milk, right? So they actually found that when they're breastfeeding the babies, they actually have less toxins. The babies will test for less toxins being fed that breast milk versus the other. Yeah. I hope that answers the question. I didn't see the whole thing, but.
yeah, it just says, can any products be taken while breastfeeding? So yeah, Kanika, they sure can. Also on that too that was something about the products that I absolutely love, is the fact that it doesn't say 18 and older. Like, there are products that are safe for all ages. It doesn't matter how old. And I love that about our products, like the fact that anybody and everybody can take them, because that's been my experience through other companies, is that it's always been not safe for anybody under the age of 18 kind of thing. And so our products are completely natural, which, you know, I don't know about you guys, but it's important to me. So
Did
that's
I understand you to say, Brooke, that, I'm sorry, did I understand you to say, Brooke, that there was a way to test for the amount of toxins that are in the body?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of ways. I mean, you can definitely do them with like holistic doctors, functional medicine. I'm sure that there are kits online too. I wouldn't necessarily know how I could recommend it quality based, but they've done, and I mean, just in general, like all of our stuff is backed by studies. Our detox itself, we have the white papers for it. We have certificates of analysis on every single product. So I mean, all of this has studies. You could go to a trusted source like PubMed.com, and you could type in anything with CBD or anything with zeolites, which is the detox, right? Any of the 92 trace minerals that are in the Restore, and you could look up all those studies and you could see how they've done it.
It would be interesting to me to know how you go about getting a test like that, because that would be an instant sell. I would think that would be an instant sell for somebody that got a test
To
and
know,
found out they
yeah.
had all those toxins in their body and it was real, and this was the solution.
There are tests. We have one girl on the team. She came from a very like thyroid knowledge based background, and I know that she has a test that she recommends to all her clients. If you really wanted to look into it, I'm sure that, you know, we could sort of link up and get you that information. They're not cheap because they test for everything, but, you know, if you really wanted to know, then it's available. Yeah.
That's actually who I was
Okay,
thinking
I'd
about.
be interested in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
We're all about networking and connecting to the resources.
Right. Awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Perfect.
actually, that'd be a good one. That'd be a good test. So cool. Everybody else
Well,
good?
thank
Any
you
more
very much.
questions? What?
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it. Thanks, Brooks. I
Awesome.
appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna go get my arms workout on.
Yeah, go pump some iron.
That's right. I
Go
used to not
pump
be able
some
to do
iron,
that.
yeah.
I used to not be able to do that. I had too many shoulder problems.
Go get full.
Thank you, healing.
Get swole. That's right, Leah. All right. Talk to you
All
guys
right.
later.
Bye, guys.
Nice meeting you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Love you guys.